Oh, we being viewed too.
Yeah.
Well, let me put on a nice little smile there. No, man, Kingsley, it's great to be on your program again. I was on here a couple of times before, but you're taking...
You come on the Tuesday morning when I was...
Right, with Gary. You're taking long to bring me back, boy. I don't know if that means I was so bad that you didn't want me back. Whatever, but I'm happy to be here tonight. I
come out of here, making a studio, this and that, come here the last couple of times.
No, man, I don't make excuses.
Well, I am surprised that you're here because I hear you're going to be some and the biggest boom, bam, bam, bam tomorrow.
Man.
So how's everything, Fitz? How's everything?
Man, I'm good. You know, God has been good to me. The people of East Kingston have been good to me, and I say that with all sincerity. Yeah?
Well, I have a cousin who thinks that you're the best thing of a sliced bread. What's her name again? Alma Data. What's your name again?
From
Walbro.
From Walbro.
Yeah, you're good friends. Yeah.
Okay.
They're netballers. Can't remember the name now. But
Pebbles.
They're my cousins by mother's side.
Okay. Yeah, man. I'm just doing what I have to do, doing what the people expect of me. Fall short sometimes, but if I don't fall short sometimes, I'd be worried. Exactly. So yeah, man.
So how is East Kingston?
East Kingston is, as you know, as most people know, anybody who's been following, East Kingston is a constituency which I believe is a reflection of the real indefatigable attitude and characteristic of Vincentian people. East Kingston residents, East Kingston people, I mean, they fight for themselves and each other. Yeah. They have an indefatigable community spirit. I mean, it's not like it used to be, but still. Yeah. And that is something that I've been working on.
That's a good statement, What is the reason why you see that togetherness and the community has fallen apart in Sign Hill in particular?
I think there are several reasons or explanations, maybe I can say. I think one has to do with the fact that, I mean, you've had some real community stalwarts who have left, either by natural causes or otherwise. And I think there was a bit of a gap in between that and the youngsters coming up. But that's been getting better. Okay. We've had more young people being involved. The sports, of course, is still there. Netball.
Where the pan bars from, Simon?
Bumi. I think Bumi is the president of the executive right now. Yes. Warren Knight, he's from Sign Hill, and Tilal Webb, he's the tuner and the.
And people might say, I cut in you, but it's when things come to my mind.
No, man.
I haven't heard that friend, that political activist in Europe once now. I know. I haven't seen her for squad. A Rasta lady. I haven't seen her for a while.
Oh, Aidisha.
Yeah,
man. Aidisha, my sister. She was a student of mine. I taught her A-level economics, and we get along quite well. She's very active in the community. Yes. She's one of the community leaders right now, and she's really working to build back Sign Hill and by extension East Kingston community. I mean, you have some other areas as well, some other like you have Depta Kolzak in Murray Village, trying to mobilize the youngsters with the sports and so on. And up in Dorset Hill, those youngsters are trying to get themselves together. So, the will is there, but we just have to. I think it's a reflection of the wider society. People are just not. I don't know if motivated is the right word, but we have to, in order for our country to move forward, it has to be done via a building of the communities. There's no other way. There is no other way. I mean, you talk about the issue of crime and so on and so forth. And I believe that having strong, really together, purposeful, positive communities can help to mitigate some of the issues in relation to crime, because we know that is a multifaceted issue that must be attacked from every every possible area.
Yes, yes.
You
Well,
know,
I noticed you come prepared, so we could get into the budget just about just making it wrong the constituency.
Well, because I have books and documents doesn't mean I'm prepared. Maybe it's because I'm not prepared what I have. No, man, I like to refer to my notes from time to time just to stay on track. I mean,
a few weeks ago, you did a coverage where you were woken up quite early where a house flip with some up in the...
Oh, yeah.
How that has been...
Debbie Ashton and her partner,
and you made some appeal and understand that. I don't see Prime Minister full-face promises that he can look after them. Tell us how that goes.
Yeah, well, as you know, they lost their house to a landslide, and that happened in the same area where, I don't know, Dexter Lewis, he lost his house in a similar fashion in 2021 or 22, and it was very close to where Dexter lived. The same thing happened. So that area is a little bit precarious in terms of the land and the soil and so on. But yeah, Debbie Ashton and her daughters, you know, Charlene and Charlene and Shelly-Ann, I think, all the Anns. But the support was overwhelming.
Well, that's nice.
They got a lot of support from a lot of people. All kinds of people donated all kinds of stuff, clothing items, right, and so on. And I, like you said, I reached out to the Prime Minister very early when the incident took place. That very morning, actually.
Well, he's the minister, Nemo, right?
Yeah, he's the minister. Natural disaster falls under him. So, and there's a procedure in place, which, you know, basically something like that happens, you would contact his ministry and they would basically set things up with the Ministry of National Mobilization. So they're being housed. The government is taking care of their housing for 6 months. And I'm hoping that before that time expires, that something more sustained, something more permanent would be put in place. They need to find a new location to build a house and to really reestablish the family.
So far you're happy with the effort made by the authorities?
Yeah. I can't complain about that. And from people, you know, at home and abroad.
Yes.
You know.
I know the response was awesome. And how the heads were booming and I said, Jesus, like how people respond. I don't know if it's your personality or the gravity to make such an effort or just felt sympathy for the person. So
it could very well have been a combination of the two.
I like the way you're jumping all you do.
But I have to. That's that people expect that of you as a representative. And even beyond that, Kingsley, I mean, that's just how I am. You know, I can't be any different from who I am. You know, and fits is fits. And if I can help somebody, and that is I think that is what's been working for me since I got into politics. That's just naturally who I am.
That been working long before.
You know, I don't have to put on, I don't have to pretend.
That working long before you get into active politics. Because
I'm a Vinci to the bone, man. I like to see my people happy.
When you were doing the football, I heard the fellas Curtis came making fun of you when you were a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Curtis couldn't even run past you. He too fat.
Nah, Buffy, you know, we went to school together. We good.
So I tell you, somebody referred to Curtis as Buffy. That meaning the Curtis a long time.
Yeah. But you know, I'll tell you, Curtis, Buffy was a really good athlete in grammar school. And I remember I was in Form 6 when he was in Form 5.
Yeah.
And him and I and my younger brother Andrew, we were the 3 top competitors in the middle distance, 8 and 1500 meters.
Yes.
I know Buffy like to say, "Oh, Fitz, you never beat me in a race." But that ain't true. We went back and forth. But listen to this. So both of us represented grammar school, even in road relay and that kind of stuff, and my brother as well. But you know who used to come out and mash up me and Buffy in the school sports? You would not believe who. Jimmy Ford.
You mean my friend
Jimmy Ford? Jimmy used to attend Emmanuel Mespo.
Yeah, I know Jimmy Ford.
When you hear in the school, it's Buffy, it's Bramble, it's Jimmy. And then it had Scrub, this guy Scrub from intermediate high school. Then he had Blood, colleague Samuel used to go Bishops. That man, I tell you, Jimmy was good. Jimmy, 8 and 1500.
Yes.
You couldn't handle Jimmy, boy.
I hear Dr. Frederick's taking claim, so you once went to school in Beckwith.
I did what?
You once went to school in Beckwith. So
man. I grew up in Beckwith.
So he's claiming some of the football exploit.
The thing is, and a lot of people don't know this, and Doc needs to let people know. Dr. Friday was a member of the very first class of the Beckwith Anglican High School.
Yes.
And we helped I was in primary school at the time when they were building that school.
Yes.
And the community, the entire island actually came out and really put in manpower. We used to have to jog water, jog sand and stone, help when they cast in the floor, they had these big like troughs, and you would help push down the cement, down the trough, all kinds of stuff we used to do. So we had
I heard him speaking passionately about that construction.
Yeah. So he was one of the first.
Let's call it the aftermath.
Alma mater. So Reverend, it was Archdeacon Adams, Father Adams. Everybody know Father Adams is of blessed memory now. He spearheaded the whole thing. So Dr. Friday. So when Dr. Friday was a few forms ahead of me, I think when he was in form 4, I entered, or something like that. So then him and I played football for the Beckwith Anglican High School together and cricket. And he was the captain for both the football and the cricket teams. So he captained me in secondary school for football and cricket. And then when he graduated, he came over to the mainland, did his A-levels, and came back and taught me when I was in form 4 and 5.
That's good.
That's really good. So we were students, and then he became my teacher after. Man.
The issue of politics and politics, you in East Kingston. Let me say good night to these people from these companies, Singapore. I have a reason why I'm saying hello to them. What about our where he is in the States? Emmanuel like up the Empire State Building, being in Luton.
Oh, you mean Consul General Rodney McIntosh?
Yeah.
What about him?
What about Luke Brown? You said it wrong. You beat him. You lost Street, Empire Street. Who you really come up against?
I have no idea, and quite frankly, it doesn't matter to me. What I'm doing. Look, I'm like we were saying a while ago. I'm a farmer. I still dabble in sports, but I was involved in competitive sports. Did you know I got selected to St. Vincent under-19 cricket team as well?
Yes,
but I didn't make the final cut because.
But you suppose you mentioned that. You know who told me that?
Who?
Jimmy Ford.
Yeah.
We were speaking about like Jimmy Ford, Ashford Road, and people in our area and who helped Curtis to be with Curtis.
Right.
I was a part of Fitz, and I grew up. I said Fitz Brambo. He said,
yeah. I played cricket. So that under-19 team, Carlos Sampson, the former police officer, he was the captain of that team, left-arm fast bowler. He was a good player. And then you had Gosnell Cupid and I were the 2 wicket keepers.
But he could only run fast. He was so fancy in football field, Gosnell Cupid.
No, I thought about cricket.
Yeah, but football, he was just fast.
Well, he was good. He had to have been good to play for the national team. Now, Gosnell held his own as a striker too. But in cricket, he edged me out because he was a better batsman.
Okay.
He was a better batsman. And I think, in all fairness, he was a little bit of a better wicket keeper than me.
Okay.
You know?
Like my father told me, Fitz.
Huggins?
No, my father told me, while Mike Finney made the highest for cricket, my father told me Ghana Niles was better keeper.
A better keeper?
But if you base it on professionalism.
Wicket keeper or goalkeeper, you mean? Ghana Niles?
Yeah, wicket keeper.
I thought Niles was a goalkeeper.
No, he was a wicket keeper.
He was a police officer?
Yeah,
man. I'm sure I heard this. Niles was a goalkeeper.
Yeah, he was a goalkeeper, like Winston. So Mike Finney, but he was, my father thought he was
a wicket keeper as well.
My father thought he was better than Mike Finney. But the Mike Finney reached professionalism with the West Indies. So Mike Finney, quote unquote, the best one we ever produced.
Yeah. But the thing is, and just to wind up on that issue, so I was responding to your question about who's coming up against me, and I would flip the question and say I have been selected as the NDP candidate to represent them in the upcoming elections in East Kingston.
Yes,
I wore that honor and privilege last election, and I was successful thanks to the people of East Kingston. And I don't anticipate anything changing this coming elections.
So people like Debbie don't want they could jump and say, well, Fitz will become
again.
I remember her name now.
Yeah, Debbie. Yeah. But the thing is, Debbie is a soldier, man.
Definitely.
The thing is though, I met the Prime Minister met me at some function, a funeral actually, some months ago, and him in his usual style, who do you prefer to run against you? And he started talking. So I said, you still registered to vote in East Kingston.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be good if you come down and run down there.
But he never do that.
He said, me, I'm good where I am. That was his response.
Gonsalves never do Vince Beach. Never.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's strong, but I don't think that's...
But I don't take anything for granted. Just like when I was a sports, I represented St. Vincent in football. I never took anything for granted. If you put me to play, if you put the national team when I played to play against a bunch of 5-year-olds, I go in hard because I go in to win.
You had a vibrant attitude.
Yeah, once you come up against me, it's war.
Yeah.
So, whoever comes up against me, I am going to continue to do what I have to do, and I am confident that the people of East Kingston are satisfied that they have had good representation over the last 4 or 5 years. Like I said, I mean, there's room for improvement. You can never be perfect, and I know that I have faltered along the way in some areas, but that's what makes you better.
Yeah.
When you can recognize that and realize that you need to work on these things.
But Fitz, Mr. Eustace stood around for a while, and we were not fortunate to see his exploit as Prime Minister. And the people of East Kingston,
they love him.
Stood by him.
They love him. They love him.
And
even to today.
Yeah.
They love him. And I have to say, not to cut you, Kingsley, but I also have to say, and I'm glad you raised that too, because I want to also take this opportunity to publicly, again, as I've done on many occasions in the past, recognize and appreciate the contribution of Mr. Eustace, not only to East Kingston, but to St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a whole. And also, for the mentoring that he gave me in his own unique way, when I got into, even before that, actually, when he was financial advisor to Sir James, when Sir James was Prime Minister and Minister of Finance. I was a young economist in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning. So I had many interactions with Mr. Eustace back then professionally.
But first, just link them together. I often hear Lansford Weeks speak very healthy of you. Lansford Weeks.
Well, I work with Weeks when I was in central planning in the Ministry of Economic Planning. Weeks was in statistics at the time, and we all got along well. I mean, them days nobody studying politics really. Everybody just
when election done.
Right. Well, we actually even we were just professionals. We were just good professionals. We did our thing. We did what we had to do. In fact, I can't even recall back then, I wasn't even really involved in competitive politics and the politics of the day, even to say, well, calling on a radio program or anything like that. We had a level of consciousness that everybody knew about, but we maintained that professional demarcation, and we never overstepped our bounds. I mean, to the extent where people didn't even know who supported who. We just knew that Weeks was in statistics, Bramblin in central planning, Sketch was in finance, whatever, and everybody just did the work.
Yeah, but I'm really.
Unfortunately, that doesn't exist anymore. I don't think. Well,
not
maybe to some
not so it's like you guys, but I think that love for each other between you and Sketch and Lansford Weeks still is there.
Yeah, Randy Cato.
Whenever you hear Weeks speak, you could put your phone down. Put your radio down and listen. He's making some sensible contribution to you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and you have to respect that. You have to respect that. I tell people all the time, I say, look, if everybody supports me, I would be very worried.
Something wrong.
Very worried, because something would be very wrong. And I don't listen, Kingsley, up to today, before I came here, I did my every Tuesday and Thursday. So I did a little bit of Walver today, and I'm gonna go back there later in the week. And I do not look for coloration. I am the representative for East Kingston at this point in time. So I represent everybody. Sometimes people would tell you, Bramble, I don't support you, but
still going on
but I am still their representative. I am not. I don't operate like that at all.
This party
I don't operate like that. So and that's the thing. You recognize that in this environment of politics, you're going to have people who like you and people who don't like you, and you're going to have some people who like you and don't vote for you. And you have some people who don't like you and vote for you. So you just have to maintain that level of consciousness and just be humble and recognize that whatever you do, everything you do should be in the interest of the people who you represent. Your life is no longer yours.
Is there any shortcomings in terms of infrastructure development in East Kingston?
There's a lot.
The Gonsalves Administration should do.
Yeah, man. There's a lot. Mainly roads. The roads in East Kingston are atrocious, but you hear that all throughout the country. And also a lot of the these structures in relation to people's homes, back walls, drains, foundations, a lot of them are very compromised. And in a lot of instances, it's because of the poor structure and maintenance of the government infrastructure. For example, there are several homes in East Kingston, Walvaroo, Mallow Village, going along London Street there, went this road from Silent Hill to go on Cane Garden.
Yeah.
Some people living below the road there. Yeah. And many of their homes, the foundations and so on, are compromised because the drains, which should be properly constructed and maintained, the public drains, they are not. So you find the water, which is supposed to be channeled along the drains, the water finds its way underneath the drain, underneath the roads, it seeps into the foundations of the houses. Yeah. And what I've been doing, my MO, my modus operandus have been, anytime somebody calls me, I do a video, and I send it straight to Baxter. They have been responsive in some instances, but not as they should be, in my view. And I'm not knocking the professionals. I don't know what the problem is, but I do what I have to do, and then after that, I can't do anything else after that. I follow up from time to time and so on, but that's the best that I can do as a representative who's not in government.
Yeah, are you disappointed with the level of culture in Silent Hill today?
Disappointed. I wouldn't say disappointed, but I feel like it needs a shot in the arm. The Silent Hill Euphonium, for example, I remember the last time when they had the graduation for the kids from the summer program, and I basically tried to encourage them in my own unique way. The organization, the Silent Hill Euphonium organization. And I was trying to get them to do a little bit of soul searching. I saying, come on, how come Starlift keep beating Silent Hill every year?
You do something
and some persons took it personally and thought that I was being sort of out of order. And they misconstrued what I said to think that I was saying it's because of the executive why Silent Hill Euphonium is losing. That's not what I was saying. I was trying to get them to do some introspecting and to do some critical analysis of where the organization is.
I agree with you, second in force.
So, exactly. And I mean, as I said, they took it. Some people thought I dissed the President Bumi. I was trying to get him to do some assessment. Maybe the way I expressed it wasn't the best from their standpoint, but I could only express myself the way I know. I can't express myself the way Donald Trump knows or the way Ralph Gonsalves knows. I am Fitz Bramble.
What about the employment status? Is it underemployment or unemployment?
In East Kingston?
Yes.
It's a combination of both. And that is symptomatic of the entire country. I made some remarks in the budget, and I'm glad you asked that question. Maybe this can help us to segue into some of the things I want to say. But the key message coming out of my budget presentation was, and still is, that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is in a crisis. And I provided evidence to support.
You're going back there after that election the Prime Minister gave you?
If what?
You're going back there, you're still seeing a crisis?
We are in a crisis.
You
honestly
believe that?
I believe that, and I'll tell you why I say so.
Okay.
I'll tell you why I provide the evidence. Now, I said, for example, that we have the highest rate of unemployment in our country's history, and that's a fact. That is a fact. Some of the latest data that was presented tells us that our unemployment overall, general unemployment right now, is about somewhere in the mid-20s. I based on the official statistics from various sources, I would average it out to be maybe between 20 and 23%. Right?
We have a persistent caller. Let's see what he posted. He's been calling for a while.
Okay. Would I hear them, or do I need headphones?
Good evening, Good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, caller.
Yes, I just happened to glance through the station and
So wait, let me ask you something before you're going on. You're drinking from the trough now, or you don't put on the trough?
Well, you want me drink and eat from the trough?
No, but you tell bring us eat from the trough, Let me tell you something. I'm a radioholic and I listen to everything. I follow everybody. I hear you telling Bing that you...
Well, I'm a never have, so I listen and eat everything. Yes.
Right, chaff, man.
Yes. Maybe what you done while you're not at the shop to eat.
Yeah, but I could tell you why you do. I will never support Ralph Gonsalves political. If you want one vote, he can get it from me. And he knows that too.
Well, he already declared to the nation that you are blind. So, so whether you be a part of the government, yes or no, then that name here there.
The only how I can support Ralph in the next election is when he pay my uncle his money, Marcus de Freitas. If not, me supporting Ralph Gonsalves.
But you say you're radio, Alec, and you know, hear that he already paid.
That's what he said. That's what he said. But the real truth is pending.
Interest alone. The amount of interest he owe the de Freitas them. You better keep yourself quiet and still
contribute. But I would leave that. I would leave that to the party, the de Freitas family to deal with.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they would.
So you have doubt that that is not so that the government haven't paid?
I've already commented on it, caller. I've already said that the Mr. de Freitas and his family would deal with that. I already did what I had to do. I raised awareness about the issue.
Definitely.
Unfortunately, the truth is, it wasn't where I really go for really call. So I really don't know who is on the panel and so on.
Oh.
Hearing
Fitz Bramble. Yes, Fitz Bramble.
Good night, my brother. This is Fitz Bramble, the representative for East Kingston. How you doing?
Right, yes. Well, the PM.
How you doing?
Really wrap you up.
Eating belly chow.
In the winding up of the budget.
What was that? I only heard you say wrap up. What did he say?
See, Prime, he said eat you up and he wrap it up in his budget presentation.
What did he say?
Whenever I meet you, both of we will have our wrap up.
I didn't hear all I hear him saying wrap up. What is he talking about?
He said the Prime Minister in his wrap up.
The Prime Minister in his wrap up.
Tear you to pieces.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
No, I'm saying why do you want to widen up the debate? Right, yes.
Well, first of all, the Prime Minister didn't wind up the debate. The Minister of Finance did.
The Minister of Finance, I say right here, but remember he pressed some lash on you too.
Okay, and you're saying that to say what?
Yes.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines we still have an unemployment problem, we still have a debt problem, we still have a poverty problem, we still have a crime problem. So what's your point?
In the NDP win, we will still have unemployment situation.
Yeah, but not as bad as it is right now, I can tell you that.
Oh, okay. Yes, the one that you want to hear. You will sell the passport and get money?
No. Nobody. Ask the Prime Minister how many. Ask the Prime Minister how many passports. Ask the Prime Minister how many passports he has sold since he became Prime Minister and how much money he made from it. Ask him that question.
My citizenship is not for sale.
Why is that?
I could sell our own.
No, well.
I will do that and make money, but I wouldn't say that.
Come, let's engage meaningfully, man. Come on.
What do you mean meaningfully?
That's what I'm saying.
It's power.
Let me explain something.
That I'm talking about power to get into power now.
Oh, come on, man. Yeah. If you're going to engage me, I have to lift your game. I'm not going down that road with you.
But now it's politics time. It's politics.
Yeah, but politics must be sensible too.
Yes.
Preach now.
Politics must be okay. Can I say something to you if you would listen?
Say anything you want to say.
All right. You referenced this citizenship by investment program a while ago, which is essentially I think what you wanted to talk about. Let me explain something to you, okay? The citizenship by investment program is one mechanism that we will undertake to help to boost our economy. The citizenship by investment. Hold on. You promised to listen. You're not listening. If you're not going to listen, I can't engage you.
Okay.
So would you give me that respect and I'll listen to you just the same?
Why?
I was saying to you, the Citizenship by Investment program, this is a program that is utilized by countries around the world. The United Kingdom, the USA, Canada, St. Kitts, Dominica, St. Lucia, you name it. And one of the things that that program does, it helps you to boost your economy at basically no financial cost. What it entails, basically what it entails is an attraction of reputable investors to do business in your country. And by doing business in your country, a part of that investment arrangement is to allow them the privilege to enjoy the benefits as a Vincentian citizen. You know, the prime minister mentioned things about, oh, the United Kingdom is going to impose visa restrictions, and that is not true. It is simply not true. Right now, as I speak, the United Kingdom government is endeavoring to engage several Caribbean countries who have citizenship by investment programs to discuss with them the standards and the processing, the vetting process and all of that, to make sure that there aren't any loopholes to allow any nefarious and unsavory investors to come into your country and to enjoy citizenship of your country. So if the United Kingdom was interested in imposing visa restrictions on any country that utilized or implemented the Citizenship by Investment program, do you think that they would have gone at lengths to engage them to make sure that the program is properly run and properly implemented? I think not. You know?
So it is me, therefore, that we are going to introduce vagabonds and criminals. Because if anybody wants, they have money.
Who was David Weiss? Who was David Weiss? Who was David Ames? Sorry. Who was David Ames?
Okay.
You remember David Ames, who came here under the Unity Labour Party administration? Who was he? You talk about criminals and vagabonds. No, just answer me. Who was he?
No, well, we already deal with that.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. But where is St. Vincent's where is St. Vincent's reputation as a result of that?
Vagabond and criminal, you go in and
no, that is not true. That is not true.
money.
Okay.
That is not true. That is not true.
Let's move on. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Fitz, because we don't want him make you say something that you shouldn't say.
No, I wouldn't. I have better control
He's
than
a
that.
provocateur. Yeah.
But I think no, and I know some people
He say he does drink from the trash now, so.
yeah, but that's okay. And those are the people I want to talk to. Those are the people I want to talk to.
Another caller. Good evening.
What?
Forget about her. Star FM must be having a program, so she's using us for her.
Who was that?
Love one.
Oh, come on. Lavon and I grew up together on bottom tongue. I don't mind people being critical, you know.
Yeah,
but let me keep it respectable, man. And respectful.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening.
Hello?
Yeah, Queens.
Good evening.
Yes, Queens.
Good evening.
Yes, Mr. Pitt from...
Bramble.
You know, last year was 40 years since NDP had that seat. Do you know that?
That last year was what?
40
40
years.
years since NDP has had that
Seat.
seat.
Oh yes, I know. I'm very much aware of that. And as a matter of fact, we are planning, because this year is going to be 50 years since the NDP has been in existence. So we are planning to make some celebrations for the 40 years that East Kingston has been represented by an NDP candidate.
Wow.
40 consecutive years since 1984.
Carlisle.
You had Marcus De Freitas at one point, Carlisle, I think Eddie Griffith, Mr. Eustace.
That's a long time.
Yeah, man. That's why I say East Kingston is the bastion, the bedrock, the rock of Gibraltar for NDP.
Well, Queens, you do something that I didn't know. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, and we will honor and show our appreciation to the people of East Kingston in a very special way. But thanks for raising that. I appreciate that.
Definitely.
Now, when Julian Francis used to have his radio program, one time a lady called and she said there was a road in Rockies that they promised to fix even before they got in government, and 13 years passed and they haven't fixed it.
Which road?
She called back 2 years later. I don't know the road.
Okay.
He called back 2 years later. He said the road didn't fix. He called back a year later. He said the road didn't fix. 16 years. So
What?
I don't know. I wasn't going to fix it yet. So I'm asking you. I don't know what road it is, but I'm asking you.
Well, I'd like to know which road, but what I can tell you is that all the roads in East Kingston are in deplorable condition, all of them. And just to highlight and substantiate what I'm saying, the Dorsetshire Hill Main Road,
Don't talk about that.
that has been in the budget in the estimates even before I got into Parliament in 2020. I recall in 2023. I asked a question in Parliament of the Honorable Minister of Transport and Works, Honorable Montgomery Daniel. In 2023, you could check the Hansards to verify. And he indicated to me that at that time, that the designs have been completed, the contractor has been identified, and work would begin next month. I can't remember which month it was I asked. This was 2023. Wow. I asked a similar question late last year, and I got the exact same answer. That designs have been done, the contractor has been identified, and work will begin early next year. And you know what's so repulsive about this is the fact that every March 14th, when we celebrate National Heroes Day, and you go up to Dorsetshire Hill by the obelisk which represents the presence of our Honorable Joseph Chattier, our national hero. Every March the 14th, they would patch up the road. Yes. Patch up the road just to accommodate the dignitaries. I mean, how ridiculous and disrespectful can you be to a people? And some people might say, well, that's not a big deal. It's only a road. But it's not a matter of only a road. It's the signal and the lack of holding your own self accountable to your own promises. Yes. That is what it boils down to. You keep promising the people of Dorsetshire Hill every single year that you're going to fix the road. Money has been going into the estimates every year to fix it. So what is the problem? I had to make a whole lot of noise to get them to fix the Cane Garden Longwall Road. And yes, I'm taking credit for it because I made a lot of noise in and out of Parliament until they eventually fixed it. I don't know. Man.
That's it?
I listen to other programs in the other countries, Jamaica, Antigua, Barbados, and they too have been complaining about bad traction of their roads. What would you say to people who say, well, there are bad roads all over? What would you say to them?
There are bad roads all over, but I don't live all over. I live in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I am concerned about... I am concerned about what's happening in my country, in my constituency, and in my community.
Pick up in.
Yes, sir.
Pick up Barbados.
Say what?
There's a lot of intentions live in Barbados. Go to Barbados for different reasons, meetings, sporting events, entertainment, wedding funeral, etc., medical attention, study. So let's say a businessman from St. Vincent. He goes to Barbados to conduct some business for one day. He has Bradley Adams, he rents a car, he drives down to Bridgetown. On the way down to Bridgetown, he encounters some bad roads, get an accident, he ends up at Queen Elizabeth Hospital. That businessman might be a relative of yours, a friend, a business associate. Would you not care about the bad roads in Barbados? Because students, we have intensive students living in Barbados. They may have to take going out in Barbados, and if they encounter bad roads and there's a bad accident that doesn't die, parents home have intimate not to bury them. So I would care about the bad roads in other countries.
Let me respond quickly to your question. You asked me if that businessman was a relative of mine, if I wouldn't care. Of course I'd care. I care for the welfare and the safety and the health of my relative. But similarly, that same businessman, my relative, could have been walking in Barbados, slipped on a banana peel, break his back, and get crippled. So I don't think that is a very good analogy. My thing is there are times when you make comparisons, of course, to countries and jurisdictions with similarities to ours. Yes. But in the case of a road, for example, and the conditions of our road, to me, that is indigenous and germane to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, to the extent where whether you make a good or bad comparison to another country, it's an issue that ought to be addressed in a very serious way. You know.
All right. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, we had a WhatsApp. Kamal been responding. I think he's trying to get a message to me, trying to tell me that Fitz been around for a while. Yeah, what I know that. Yeah.
No, the WhatsApp was just saying, Fitz, I am listening to you a long time. I wonder if Kingsley really realized that Fitz once hosted a sports program on WFM.
Kingsley, you know that?
Honestly speaking, I mean, I don't want him about that.
On the ball. It was on Monday nights, me and Stephen Huggins.
Wow.
That was in 1998 and 99. And then I left in 2000 to go to be the deputy ambassador in Washington. And that on the ball at one point in time, that on the ball program was more popular than the Let's Talk Sports and 705 at one time. Yeah, Stephen did a good job, man. Stephen was the coordinator and stuff. And I came on with him. I used to enjoy that actually. Back in them days, the studio was nice and fancy like it is now.
we come out checking the feedback. Facebook like to see anything interesting. We don't normally read all. If they what we read them, we read them. So we just go into them to see.
But like I said, Kingsley, you know, it's your program. So wherever you want us to go, we can go.
Let me just, someone is saying here, good to see an NDP candidate on WFM. More need to make bold and inclusive moves in their campaign.
I agree.
And we're getting there. I agree that there's room for improvement, but we're getting there. But the Cummins was on your program some time ago.
He did say that more people.
Several of us have been on Jomo's program on Monday nights.
Yes.
I've been quoting Cecil to bring me on the Sunday program, and he keeps saying, "Well, it's you gotta tell me."
I think you want you. I think you want Friday.
You go on Friday.
Friday want he.
Well, I'll tell you this much, and I know some people might say, "Boy, Bramble, you love bragging." It's not a matter of bragging. I will go anywhere to spread NDP's message because I think our country's future is too serious. And is at stake for us not to reach out, to neglect any opportunity to reach anybody. Yeah. So I asked Julian Francis, when I had just come back from Canada, when I just came back in 2020, I asked Julian on several occasions, I said, Julian, I want to go on that. They had a Tuesday evening program, they used to call Unity Youths or something like that. And I asked him to go on it. I wouldn't use the words that he used, but he basically said, are you crazy? You think I'm going to let expose my supporters to listening to you on my station?
I know a listener of a very ardent supporter of ULP listening. I think it's Mr. Banfield. Good to know that you listen to us, so we really appreciate it.
Yeah, good night, Mr. Banfield. I don't know who that is. Or maybe I know him and don't know who.
Of course you know him. He voted in your constituency, but he's a ULP man.
That's all right. Well, he's a East Kingston man. He's a East Kingston man. I don't differentiate. He's an East Kingston man, and I am his representative, and I'm proud to be his representative.
He met me in Kingston a couple of years ago. He said, man, he doesn't show up my pen, so I'm actually right on his name. I said, well, Fitz could be a whatever caller. Yeah. Good evening. Good evening.
You have any future in your back and everything that you will be doing? We future already have in all there.
Who's that?
Step in.
Good night. What's going on, brother?
But what kind of future you could have in all the condemnation and walk and all kind of things?
Come step in, man. I step in. You're more conscious man than that. Let me lift the discussion. Come now, man.
Conscious to conscious people.
Let me lift the discussion. What do you mean condemning the airport? Well, condemn the airport how? Who condemn the airport?
You can't get money to build it. We find it where.
Man, them is things in the past. Step in. Them is things in the past. If you want to, I could go back. I could go back to 1975 when Labour Party was in government too, and tell you how the tear gas the teachers. At some point, we gotta move on. Step in. Come on, man.
So tell me something. You could do anything better. Anyone in NDP could do anything better than we are contract doing.
A lot better. We could do a lot of things a lot better. You want me to start?
Like what?
For sure, our employment situation would improve significantly.
Right.
For sure.
Well, our employment.
Hold on now. You're asking me, and you won't let me answer.
Well, go on.
The level of poverty in St. Vincent has never been worse than it is right now. And two of the big reasons why that is happening. One is because of the level of debt that we have incurred in this country, where and the returns on the investments are less than satisfactory. That's one.
Borrowing.
Yeah, and yeah, the borrowings and so on. And secondly, our economy has not been growing enough and producing enough and generating enough what we call our gross domestic product, generating enough so that we can really contribute in a more significant way to the development and the improvement of the standard of living of our people. All you got to do is step in. I know you're a man. Wait. I'm going to give you a chance. Let me finish. You a man does walk around tongue. Let me use an indicator that is obvious to everybody. Have you ever in your life, all your life, coming in tongue, have you ever seen more vagrants than what you see in tongue now? No, just answer me.
Yeah.
You want to put me on spot?
No, asking you a question.
When money running in a country, vagrant all this.
No, I didn't ask you that. I didn't ask you. I know vagrants will always be there, but I'm asking you. And as a matter of fact, let me add to the question.
What another question?
So wait, be an answer. Of course, it's a question. If you don't want to answer it, say don't want to answer it.
Yeah.
But don't tell me it's not a question.
That's no question at all. Vagrant.
Let me give you. Let me dig.
I'm a vagrant in America. Big
Step in. Let me give you this one to walk with. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we have at least, and I know all you like to fact check and whatever, and you could fact. Wait. Let me give you a bit of information. You could go and study this and come back. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines right now, we have at least, listen to what Kelly here, at least 40,000 people, a sizable percentage of them children, who are living on $14 a day or less every day.
$14 a day.
$14 EC dollars a day or less. In other words, they're living below the poverty line, as the economists would say.
That's a question. How much? Why is it percentage that children to how much people have been children to 110?
I don't know about that. I don't know if it's 110. The Prime Minister said the other day the population is declining and the women need to make more babies.
Okay, well,
So and that is maybe that is why they don't want to complete the census, which started 2 years ago. What is it? What is it? Why is the reason why the census hasn't been completed? Huh?
Let me ask you something now.
I'm listening.
If population of children is 100,000,
Approximately.
12% I put to resign.
12% do what?
About 40% is children.
About 40% of children.
Yeah, it is children.
40-something percent of people working. We're statistics about too much of percent of people, 40% are working. We're trying to fool you. You want to look on the savings too. You have cars, you have more truck, you have more business, you have more bigger.
And you have more poor people.
Now, yeah, I said it to poor.
And you have more poor people.
More poor people away.
You say you have more cars, more this, more that, and I'm telling you also have more poor people. Bring your statistics. Bring your statistics to refute what. Bring your statistics to prove me wrong. Huh?
If people are supporting your bingo, who will get any money from who up the place?
Come on, man. Come on.
Well, thank you for calling.
Maybe it's because they're poor. Maybe it's because they're poor why they come into the bingo.
And they help the people that take care of poverty children, so. And you say the poverty children, so.
Step in, all I will tell you.
We're taking jobs that we're the money to buy jobs.
Step in, all I will tell you. Listen, all I will say to you. When the New Democratic Party forms government, we will make sure that we create more and better paid jobs for the people of this country. We will make sure that we grow our economy. We will make sure that we improve our healthcare system. We will make sure that we make St. Vincent and the Grenadines a safer place than it is right now. And we will make sure that the infrastructure in our country is much better than what it is right now. All in the interest of the development and the improvement of the standard of living of our people. That is what I can guarantee you as a New Democratic Party government. We won't be able to do everything in our first term because the mess and the crisis that the ULP has created is going to be so huge for us to clean up. that we're going, it's going to take a substantial amount of time in our first term, but we will get it done.
4, 5, 7, 99, 97. We've been going over hours, so we're going to take a break.
Going fast, man.
And we're going to come back. Yeah.
People's Pharmacy, for all your pharmaceutical, skin and body care needs. Located on Grenville Street in Kingstown. They open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday. Call them today at 784-456-1170. People's Pharmacy also stock vitamins and supplements, personal care items, toiletries, children and adult pampers, and much more. And of course, get your prescriptions filled by a friendly and professional pharmacist. People's Pharmacy. Come in today and let us serve you.
It's Feedback with host Kingsley De Freitas. This and every Tuesday night from 8 p.m. for 2 full hours, right here on WeFM 99.9. Join him as he brings different guests weekly on this informative and interactive program. It's Feedback. To be a part of the Feedback program, call us at 457-9997 or send us a WhatsApp at 457-9997. It's Feedback.
Good evening. Let me say good night to Bongo Shaka. Bongo Shaka. Go ahead. Answer him. Yeah. Bongo Shaka. Oi.
Yeah, greetings. It sounds like you're on the top mountain up there.
I have St. Andrew, me and Fitz.
No, you're top of Mount Zion.
Oh, Rastaman Zion.
Mount Zion Hill, Bongo Shaka, Mount Zion Hill.
Boy, we live in Mount Zion now. Zion was Zion.
That's right. Is it? Shaka, no going on.
We the to Tampi, we should the big up Mount Zion.
Bongo Shaka.
By my old man shop because time I say Tampi.
But Shaka, blessings. Good night, my brother.
Yeah,
greetings.
Make me forget my protocol.
Yeah, he don't start.
You MP
Bramble.
Fitz Bramble and my Virgin Kingsley and the rest of the listeners, Bongo Shaki as usual.
Yeah.
I kind of interested to listen you all, but I was looking for something.
We having
but
fun.
We also get this little counteraction, but I'm looking that you ain't going to touch on the budget.
That's our plan. But
you get carried away sometimes. Last week, it's a week when you had yes, strictly religion. I thought you would have touched on the COVID, which will be more important information. You see problems with as we not Rastafari, people is too junk in this religion thing sometimes. That's why we Rastas here. And there's so much concept and different who write and who this and so much denomination. There's a Rastafari now when the ancient tradition was there and well versatile back to Africa and so on and being conscious and know your history, where you're from, where you're aiming, where you're going and so on. A lot of counteraction came in because all individual man start to set up your own organization because it's self-interest, you're always finding that and that's stabilize everything.
Bongo Shaka.
Hey.
That program I had at Anissa Baptiste is the most listenership any single program ever had on WeFM. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
That lady is an extra.
It was okay, but I think you should have balanced it back because due to she had developed information on the COVID and you actually said that you're going to speak on it, so you should have been checking your time and at least get about 20 minutes from her.
She's going to come back next time very soon to deal with the issue of vaccine and things like that. So what took place was deliberate.
Yeah, and sometimes you plan a thing, but you just let it flow, and be right. Yes. But the vibe was okay, was positive,
Definitely.
And people very keen, and because so many denominations, you say a lot of people doing a lot of research on this whole. Because I done research from years, since I live in the United States in the 70s. So you got to know a lot of history when pertaining to scripture and so on. Yeah. You just can't deal with it on a side like that. You got to go into a lot of history and compare them and analyze them. It's very tedious. If you discover something in this religion, it is amazing. Yeah, but put aside all that. Fitz, Mr. Bramble, so
Man, Fitz, we're going out with you, Mr. Bramble. We're going out with you, Bongo Shaka. How far back me and you go, Virgin? Come on, man. But Mr. Bramble.
yeah. Watch now. I'm kind of interested. One time which word I think was very good to motivate the youths and give them a little inspiration and and so on. You are develop a kind of agriculture program, right?
Yeah.
With the youth and so on. But I know too sometimes you're on radio and so much political thing, but I haven't heard you spoke on it.
It fell off a little bit. Well, it fell off because lack of participation. It was a community garden, a community vegetable garden that we started. Yeah. And there were some other challenges, but as the elders say, you live and you learn, and it is something that we will be bringing back much stronger and better. It's kind of dormant right now. That is the reality. Yes. But I agree with you.
Not a failure. Once you go and continue with it, it's not a failure. But we just stop and forget it.
It's a setback.
Yeah, and of course, the intention is to expand it and to have it, take place in different areas in the constituency. It's an idea that I got when I lived in Canada at the university where I taught. The university made some lands available for the community around the university, and everybody just went and cultivated a small piece of it, and they had, they would put their names next to it or something like that. One plot would be like tomatoes, another plot would be like cucumbers, you know what I mean? And then at the end of the day, everybody would when you harvest, you just share up among everybody in the community, in the neighborhood. Yes. So that was where I got the idea from. But they have that all over the world. Community gardens is nothing new. It's nothing unique to what I tried to do. But I need to go back to the drawing boards and figure out how to get greater buy-in.
Yeah, when you had started, you tried to add your number. I was meditating a lot to check you on it and see what you were doing and see if I could give
me some help.
My hand and ideas and so on. Because what is happening, Fitz, right? These days, if you're smart or wise, even you have land that is rocks and so on, I don't have much soil. What you do, you get different material that people throw away. Whether it's wood, steel, whatever, you build stands.
Right.
And you won't believe that you can have a whole rocky area, man, look, or you can have nothing there when they're Gucci. You could bring in those stuff like barrels, those blue barrels, you cut them and so on, you punch holes on them so water can drain, find holes and so, you bar the side. And you could grow at least 1,000 head of lettuce at $5 a head, and that's within totality. That's around $5,000 you have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got similar suggestions from other people as well. Bongo Shaka, even the lady Steiner at the Richmond Vale Academy down there. They provided some advice and things like that. But and it's something that, as I said, I want to expand and go into other areas, and also to encourage the backyard gardening. People could get an old fridge, a piece of tire, whatever, and start growing stuff in the backyard. That is something that we have in the plan, But as I said, some of the challenges, the main challenge was really to get resources. It's not an excuse; it's a reason. But as I said, you live and you learn, and you figure out ways to get around that eventually.
Yes.
Well, I think you should scope and see there's some organization that will help fund such a project. But I am not into this technology thing, but you gotta do a lot of research, or maybe somebody who already have someone like that, like the lady in Richmond.
Right.
They will be able to link you to some organization. I think you should try to get it on board and incorporate it with sports also. That you have clubs and so. Some of the money can be used maybe to buy balls or buy a cricket bat.
Very good.
You set it up like a co-op, and those who involved in the park planting and so on and taking care, they'll be given a little funding to you and keep a good record. So and keep a bank account. And appreciate it. The community was really involved in it too, Shaka. I mean, the community, the immediate neighborhood, all the young dems and so on used to come out. But as I said,
it fell apart. The attendance and the participation fell apart. After a while, people wanted it to pay them to come, and that kind of stuff. So
you have to get her to speak to them. The motivation and a reinforcement, disciplinarian man like I, to push them.
Well, we go link up and talk.
We have some callers back it up. So thanks for calling. Okay.
Yeah. So try to get that involved, and you could all come tonight, But I'll have to really touch base here.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks, Shaka.
I will get back to the Kingsley,
No.
Okay. Let's go to my favorite caller. Becker, mate, good evening.
Hey, Kingsley. Good night, my friend. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you, sir.
Pleasant good night to you. Pleasant good night to Mr. Bramble. And
good night, sir.
Yes.
How are you doing?
Mr. Bramble, good, doing good. You guys are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you, man.
As I sit here in this call, and I think of some of the callers that I've been hearing, you got to chuckle really a lot. It's a sad day really when someone gonna call a radio station and say they're labor hard.
Yeah. We got to live our game.
Well, true, but we have to be more have some more decency about ourselves about that.
Yeah.
Then I listen to Stephen Razor here talking about we have more cars and we have all these things. I would like to ask Stephen Razor, how did the cars get into St. Vincent? Did the government bought them in, or is the same people who the dog walkers in New York and Canada and all the other places who help to bring these cars in?
I think Sian go answer that question again. Sian Marshall.
But really, I sit there, Kingsley, it's laughable. I wonder if some of these people are thinking of what they're saying.
Yeah. Don't give it legs. Don't give it legs by talking too much about it either.
No, but I would just bring that to the forefront.
Yeah.
One thing I was going to say, and I know you're probably going to get into it, but I need to talk about the pillars that all the plans of the blue economy, the blue economy and everything. Don't disregard those distractors.
Okay.
Disregard them. You guys are doing a great job. I actually take a day off to listen to you and Dr. Friday. And seriously, I took a day off from my job to sit home and listen to you guys in Parliament. And you guys have made me proud. And I honestly have a feeling that you guys are gonna form the next government in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
With God's help.
Some people is gonna call and cuss me out. It's okay. My shoulders are broad, My shoulders are broad.
Yeah.
And my grandmother always told me you have to stand up for what you believe in, and you must stand up for justice.
Yes,
that's right.
You have a good night, and you guys are doing a great job. Have a good night.
Yeah, thank you, Becker. 457-9997. Come on and WhatsApp up there and Facebook. You want to comment on anybody making anything worthwhile respond. You can have a quality.
Someone is saying, I think they need to sell the produce instead of sharing it away. Sell for a cheaper price than the market. This might motivate some folks, especially those who aren't working.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Also, someone writes here, guys, the East Kingston constituencies is like the Grenadines. When the people did want to change in 2001, East Kingston kept their own.
Oh, yes.
That's right. And so it shall be into the however far into the future.
We have a caller. Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. Hello, good evening.
Weeks ago on your program, and I asked you if you have a spot that is doing good with your 3 years and trying to meet the need. Will you suddenly go and tell us that you want a divorce or even
What's that?
Could you kindly repeat what you're saying, because we didn't hear what you say clearly? Yes.
I called you some weeks ago and asked you if you have a spouse and it's doing very fine, trying to meet your needs.
Well, I don't remember you. I still maintain my position that I am not a ULP supporter. And I think having one party in office for 23 years is too long in that. So for the reason, that is why I'm going to vote against Ralph Gonsalves in the next year election, because I think it's time for him to go and do something else besides being Prime Minister. Okay?
And Kingsley, if you could give me the chance to explain to you why you should vote for the NDP. I mean, I know time running out and it's your program.
No, we have 25, 35. Yeah.
Should give me a chance. Let me hear the man say.
I don't answer you already.
That's a valid question.
Answer you already.
We too long in that mean what? That is the same thing when tell the wife. Would you look with the too long girl, look with the one.
Yeah. Well, I tell you about Gonsalves as a politician. Too long with that time for him to go.
If he is biased, you say your program you have a bias, you're proving your bias tonight.
Yeah, well, I do not to suit you. Thank you for calling. Yeah. All I think can be.
But Kingsley, if I
I'm not the Pope, you're not calling me. You laugh, you come and laugh after me. Good evening. Good evening.
Good my brother.
Yes, Mr. Peters.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pam.
Good afternoon, sir. Good evening.
No, I'm just going to repeat. It's more than everything of them at the end of it. Before the end of not against the thing.
I'm not understanding.
You have a problem with the quality of the phone.
Yeah, tell him we can't understand.
Mr. Peters, last week you had a better quality phone. This week we hardly hearing what you're saying.
I can't understand what you're saying.
Yeah. And you all make sense, but you just can't understand what you're saying. I don't know if you want to try and call back on the other phone. Yeah, we having a problem here with you, there, boy. Serious. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, yeah. Hey, Leon, what happened there? Hey, Leon. Hey.
Yes. Why you shout me so hard? Good night. How you doing?
I shout you hard because you call my program, you ULP man.
But you have to let Brahmin now know that. I suppose I didn't want Brahmin now.
I can't hide it from Brahmin. Brahmin, I don't know how you call it again. People like you.
Man, once you have Vincent, and I love you, man. You don't know it if you know me. If you know me.
Of course I know you. You know me too. But Kingsley, why you just let Beckwith make comment talk foolishness on the radio? You live in St. Vincent. You live in America?
I don't think Beckwith does start foolishness. You don't like
but I'm asking you. Why you gonna let him get away with stuff like that? The people in St. Vincent, they have money to buy cars?
Well, you answering for me, so he could defend himself.
No, but I'm just saying, but you allow him to get away with that and say it's people who walking down buying cars in St. Vincent.
That was a bit of sarcasm coming from him. And we're entertaining sarcasm to get a field marshal, because he who introduced the dog walking thing.
No, but I listened to him the other day too. It's the same foolishness. We know he ain't like the Labour Party government, but you need to stop his stupidness. And then you let Fitz get away with something they too. Step in, say that Fitz, the people that come to bingo is poor people. Fitz here. How you gonna let Fitz get away with that?
But
I said what? No, hold on. Hold on. Why you said step in said poor people come into my bingo and I said yes?
Yeah.
No. I did not say. I did not.
You said because they're poor.
No. I never said that. No. No, I'm not gonna let you. Hold on, Leon. I'm not gonna let you get away with that. I never said that. At the end, hold on. At the end of my comment, I sarcastically said to step in. Maybe it's because they're poor why they come into the bingo so they could win some money. That is what I said.
Really? So you was being funny with that?
Yes.
So what? So that is not possible. That is not possible.
No.
Leon, look.
You say
Listen. We have a problem of poverty, extreme poverty in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This discussion is not going to solve that problem.
Fitz,
This discussion is not going to solve that problem. So let's talk about how we could meaningfully address the problem of poverty in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
You having a bingo, right?
Man, I'm not. With due respect, all respects, I'm not going to discuss my bingo. Yeah. I'm sorry. You could say, I mean, it's your call and you could say what you want to say, but I am not going to engage in a discussion about that. Yes. I'm sorry.
457-99-97. Imagine we are the radio for 1 hour and 25
and
minutes.
We can't get to the budget. Like, you got to bring me back every Tuesday night.
It's the people program, so they're like, what they're hearing. So send us your thoughts at 457-99-97. That is also the WhatsApp and the text.
But Kingsley, while you're waiting, if you would allow me to jump in. Right?
Somebody want to allow you.
Somebody's calling again? Yeah. Okay.
Good evening. Good evening.
Hello. Hello.
Good evening.
Hey, hello, Kingsley. What's up?
Everything all right? Patches nice.
Boy, easy.
Your voice is a special voice. I can't forget your voice.
Good program.
Yeah, thank you.
And
hello.
in your program. You're doing a masterful job by bringing different people.
Yeah, I try that. And I really got that fit scheme.
You're doing a tremendous job.
Yeah, thank you.
And just keep enlightening the people. And can we have a take your explain to that? They try to beat
Well, Patches, you know, as a bottom tongue man, we know how to be resilient and how to defend ourselves, you know.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah,
I don't understand when a person makes his own statement and expressive opinion. Why people want to think the man is stupid or the man is
exactly.
Beckham made a great contribution.
Yeah, I think so. I think that Beckham made was spot on, but Leon don't think so. So.
Kingsley, if you continue, you gotta watch your back.
All right, Patrice, thanks for your support. Yes. Patrice came in a couple of weeks ago, you know, if we went to... Yeah.
So if I really itching to get into at least one of the pillars before I leave tonight. Yeah. But the situation in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is really dire. It's really dire. And many of the experts have said that the best way, I'm paraphrasing, but the most effective way to get St. Vincent and the Grenadines out of this crisis within which we find, and I maintain it's a crisis, yes, is that we need to go.
After the Prime Minister lecture you.
The Prime Minister didn't lecture me.
But you were in the classroom?
No, I was in Parliament and the Prime Minister made his presentation.
I was in the classroom.
And I made my presentation. Let me give you an example of when I say a crisis. Let me give you an example, right? I am going to quote to you from what is called the Fiscal Responsibility Mechanism. This is a group of persons that the government, through a parliamentary act, brought into being through a fiscal responsibility framework. And this group of persons, the Fiscal Responsibility Mechanism, consisting of people like Maurice Edwards,
good man,
Brian Glasgow,
good man,
Shafia London,
excellent woman,
Dr. Linton Lewis,
wonderful human
Dr. Justin Robertson. I don't think I'm missing anybody. Right?
What's Robertson, Professor?
Professor Justin Robertson.
He should be on here this Sunday.
This group of persons was constructed and put together by the government to basically monitor and analyze the government's fiscal behavior. And fiscal meaning how they spend people's money, how you take care of people's business using their money.
Yes.
In 2022, the Fiscal Responsibility Mechanism published a report, right? And on page 19 of that report, this is what the Fiscal Responsibility Mechanism said. The debt burden remains high, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines remains at a high risk of debt distress. This is 2022. At that time, public debt rose to 87.1% of GDP in 2022. Today, as we speak, the debt to GDP ratio is 93.6%.
Wow.
What it simply means, Kingsley, every dollar that St. Vincent and the Grenadines generates from its economic
91 cents
activities,
goes to that.
93, almost 94 cents is owed in debt. So you have a little over 6 cents left to develop the country.
Wow.
That is essentially what it is saying. Are you telling me that's not a crisis? The report further went on to say, this debt level, listen to this, this debt level is currently assessed by the World Bank and the IMF as high risk of debt distress. You know what debt distress means? It means you're at a point where you can't pay back your loans. And even this budget this year bears that out. Let me tell you how it bears it out. In the budget, and this was 2022. So if in 2022, the IMF and the World Bank saying we are at a high risk of debt distress, where our debt to GDP ratio was 87.1%, 3 years later, it's at 93.6%. You don't think that's a crisis? It's a huge crisis. You could couch it and call it whatever you want. Listen, this year, in the budget of this year, there is an item in the budget that they call other receipts.
I heard they use that term all the
Right.
time.
Other receipts is simply an amount of money that you're hoping you're going to get, but you don't know where it's coming from. And that amounted to $280 million this year. You don't know where it's coming from. And it comes in the budget every year. And every year, they're only able to get maybe less than 10% or 20% of that. Last year, I think they got about 30-something million of the other receipts. Right? No, hold on. Let me finish, if you don't mind. Let me finish with trend of thought. Now, the Honorable Minister of Finance, in his budget address, let me see if this is the copy.
You mean this year?
This year.
Okay.
This year. I'll find it for you.
Yeah, take your time.
In his budget address, yeah, here it is. In his budget address, right, where he was talking about other receipts on page 93. People have to talk, but you don't have facts. I'm bringing the facts. On page 93, this is what Camilo Gonzalez says, the Honorable Minister of Finance. He said, other receipts, other receipts represent 1, the financing for capital budget for which the source of funds is yet to be determined. Okay? 2, financing of the amortization. 3, sinking fund contribution. And 4, the modest current account deficit. So what he's saying here is that the $280 million that we don't have, and we don't know where we're going to get it from, we are hoping to use that money to pay back our debt. Because amortization and sinking fund are aspects of debt servicing. Yeah. Amortization is like the principal that you're paying back on your loan. You have interest and you have principal. The amortization is that. And then the sinking fund is an amount that you put aside every year. And Camilo is telling us that of the amount, the $280 million that we don't know where we're coming from, we're hoping to use that to pay back our debt. So it's very unlikely that you're going to get that $280 million in other receipts. So how are you going to pay back your debt? You know how they do it? They go and they float bonds. Yeah, they come to the public and they sell the public a piece of paper and say, look, I'm giving you an IOU. You give me some money and I'll pay you back at 7% interest. But the sad thing is that you're borrowing money from the people through bond floating at 7% interest at least to pay back loans that you borrowed at 2 and 3% interest. That is a crisis in every way, shape, or form. And then the fiscal responsibility mechanism report goes on to say, it goes on to say, in the absence, on the same page 19, in the absence of a debt restructuring exercise, bringing down debt to GDP ratio will require a combination of primary surpluses, and I'll get into that if I have time to explain what it means. Well, what that basically means is that in terms of your current account, your recurrent account, your revenue must exceed your expenditure. Yes. And for time immemorial, we've been spending more than we've been able to earn or to raise in revenue. So we are always in a current account deficit.
Okay, I was just going to ask you that.
Right? That's what it means. And a deficit, right? So, but listen to what it says. In the absence of debt restructuring, etc., to bring down the debt to GDP ratio. In other words, to take us out of this debt distress that the IMF and the World Bank talked about, we have to either create primary surpluses and generate positive economic growth. Our economy is in tatters. We're not going anywhere. You hear them talk about the economy growing by 4 and 5%. Let them explain to you the difference between nominal GDP and real GDP. Because when they tell you that your economy grows by X percentage in dollar terms, GDP simply, let me give you a quick economic lesson here. For those who don't know, I mean, a lot of people know now, information abounds. GDP simply means the value of goods and services produced by your economy in a year, in a time period, usually a year. So if you produce 5 apples and you sell the 5 apples at $5 each, your GDP is $25. That is what they call your nominal GDP, your money GDP.
Yes.
What they're not telling you, you hear the bragging and talking about GDP is improving and we grew by this percentage. What they're not telling you is that you have to account for inflation. In economics, there's something called the GDP deflator. And if you apply that to your nominal GDP, your money GDP, that would tell you what your real GDP is. So they're giving you economic growth in money GDP. So if, for example, those same 5 apples, which cost $5 each last year, giving you a GDP, a nominal GDP, a money GDP of $25, if you produce the same 5 apples next year, and because of inflation, the value of each apple goes up from $5 to $10, it means that your GDP is now $50, but you're producing the same 5 apples.
Okay, I understand that.
You understand what I'm saying?
Any comments you want to clarify for Mr. Weeks why the NDP is not having a meeting of the Finance Committee?
The Public Accounts Committee.
Yeah.
Well, that is something that I think we ought to, we take responsibility because the legislation says that the leader of the opposition should convene the Public Accounts Committee. So I agree that we need to call a meeting of the Public Accounts Committee. But let's not be disingenuous here. Even before I entered Parliament, the Unity Labour Party members of the Public Accounts Committee indicated that they're not going to attend any Public Accounts Committee until the rules of the committee change.
I remember hearing that.
So in order for the committee to meet, you must have a quorum. You can't have a quorum if the members from the government side don't attend the meeting. So if you don't have a meeting, how are you going to change the rules? But be that as it may, it's still not an excuse. The meeting should still be called, and if they don't show up, then so be it. And then we deal with it from there. So that is something that I think Dr. Friday, the leader of the opposition, will address. But I agree. But the other thing to
so
Kingsley.
We should have improvement there.
Yeah.
All the thoughts, eh? All the thoughts. Good evening. Good evening.
Look at the man controlling your program. What?
Man, cut you off your program.
Who's that? Who's that?
Hey, no, me checking them call of you there. They said, we talk me Fitz talking for 9 till 10 o'clock. You call me, tell me I a failure. Fitz is a professional in what he does.
Listen to me. Let me tell you something. So I was talking about the GDP and the debt, the high debt, the really sad situation we find ourselves in.
Some people angry. Huh?
Well, they can get angry. The truth is the truth, man. Yeah. They can get angry with me.
So
if they get angry,
I know what is GDP, but for the poor people who don't know, tell them.
Well, I just did. I just explained it.
Yeah,
it's the value, whatever St. Vincent produces here, the value of the final goods that we produce in St. Vincent. So if we produce 5 apples, 3 mangoes, 6 sailing boats, whatever, you value them. And then you add all of that up, and that gives you your GDP, right? So when you hear they come and they tell you GDP is growing, tell them to tell you by real terms. In 2001, right? Right now, our nominal GDP is about 3 billion EC dollars. In 2001, when the ULP came into office, our nominal GDP was about $1.2 billion. Now, what that simply, and when you make the comparison and you adjust for inflation, it's about the same. So the economy has not really grown in 25 years from when they came into office, because $1.2 billion, $3 billion now, what you can get for $3 billion now, you would have paid $1.2 billion for it back in 2001. So there's really no big difference in the economy. You've been there for 25 years and you can't grow the economy. When the NDP was in government for 17 years, the economic growth averaged 4%. averaged 4% over the 17 years. Over 25 years under the ULP administration, our economic growth averages just under 2%, about 1.9. Not even half of what it averaged when the NDP was in government.
Yes.
And in this book called The Making of the Comrade by Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, on page 170, there's a section which he titles The Mess We Met. And he talks about the mess that the NDP left them, right? Let me just get your feedback. I'll go through them.
I have the book like that.
You have the book, but you didn't pay attention to page 170.
I'm going to check it out now.
This is what Ralph Gonsalves said the NDP left him, right? And tell me after 25 years if you think any cleaning up of this mess took place. The first one he says, I'm quoting from his book on page 190. Unemployment, let me read it. It says, this flurry of meritorious, this flurry of meritorious initiatives in my first 9 months in office was absolutely necessary. He's talking about some things that he did in his first 9 months of office. And he's saying that was absolutely necessary, given the terrible mess in which the outgoing NDP administration had left the country and the government, right? He goes on to say the ULP manifesto for the 2005 general election sketches out all of this in summary form under the heading, The Mess We Met. Among the major items of mess which the NDP left us to clean up were the following. This is where I'll say NDP left here in 2001. Yeah? The first one, unemployment amounting to some 40% of the labor force and a poverty level affecting 37% of the population. That is where he said NDP left him in 2001. Where are we with that now?
Well, he would tell you that poverty is below zero.
Listen to me. Poverty in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is at least 35 to 40%. You hear what I'm telling you? And that is the reason why in 2018, when the last poverty survey was done and was about to be published, the Minister of Finance, Camilo Gonsalves, came into Parliament and said that they had to squash the report because the data was contaminated. That's what he said. 2018, 7 years later, we can't get a new poverty report.
I remember Daniel coming taking him to him.
Of course. And indigent poverty, which is like real dirt poor, as we say, the percentage increased from like 3% to 11%.
Yeah, that's bad.
And Ralph talking about NDP left him part of the mess had to do with poverty. 25 years and it hasn't gotten any better. It has worsened. It has worsened. So when people come and talk, and I don't mind engaging, I don't mind being corrected, I don't mind people giving ideas to take our country forward. But you must be truthful and you must accept the truth. One of the biggest problems, with they tell you, the sociologists would tell you, when you have somebody who's addicted to something like alcohol, one of the biggest challenges is to get them to admit that they're alcoholics. So one of the biggest problems in St. Vincent is that some people, but I think that number is getting smaller and smaller. More and more people are realizing that, look, what the NDP is saying is really true. We have a big mess here to clean up. And one of the ways, and you want me to continue with some of the things he talked about?
We ain't checking about card. You go right through.
He goes on to say, he said, NDP left us to clean up what the following, with the mess. The worst poverty in the Caribbean after Haiti. This is what Ralph said in 2001. Haiti.
Jesus.
Where we there now? Where are we now? And if I am wrong, let them do the poverty survey and bring the statistics to show me that we are wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, we live in St. Vincent, we walk around, we know people who working and making $1, catching the nenen to make ends meet. So you could imagine a young female with 3-4 children, ain't have no father to help she.
But
Come on.
I agree that because I heard Cynthia Lake making a reference to it, and he used a word that we were using on the radio, and he speak it like that. But as you say, we catch it in the end.
Of course. And we live it. Rita Marley say, who feels it knows it. Yeah. And these guys know it, They know it. They may not be living in poverty and they may be living a good life. But from the time you step out your house, people come in and asking you for help. People coming and asking you for help, all kinds of help. Isn't that a signal that there's a serious problem in the country?
That's why me don't envy other job because I know how to scoop it.
You know what I mean? Here he goes on to say, as part of the mess, declining economic growth, which had St. Vincent and the Grenadines at the bottom of the OECS table, and a widening income gap between the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the rest of the OECS. St. Vincent is still ranked at the bottom of the OECS table in terms of health, economic health. We still ranked at the bottom. So after 25 years, how do you explain this? That is why I tell you we have a crisis on our hands. Because if you came and met a mess, according to you, and 25 years later, the mess has not gotten any better or cleaned up, then it's a crisis we're in.
Yes, right.
That's like you having a sore foot for 25 years and you can't get it can't well up. No, you ain't doing nothing to make it to get the sore foot well. Huh?
4, 5,
Come on.
799 97. Send us your WhatsApp or your text there, and we will read them and engage fits with them. But
I want to quickly touch on one, just one. So we in the NDP, we are of the view that based on all the analysis and so on, and we have ourselves recognized that in order to take St. Vincent and the Grenadines out of this crisis, in order to experience the kind of economic growth that would really bring back some level of decency in the standard of living of our people, we have to grow our economy. And we are of the view that our economy, we have to build St. Vincent and the Grenadines based on 4 pillars of economic growth. Yes. One is agriculture, where we will cultivate our lands and feed our nation. Yeah? And talking about that, our food import bill, Kingsley, our food import bill right now is close to $500 million, $500 million that we pay to bring food into this country. And there's so many issues related to that. You're losing valuable foreign exchange because most of the times the imported food is more expensive than what you produce here. Secondly, you're bringing in a whole lot of stuff, unhealthy food, unhealthy food. You might be able to get some stuff that may be cheaper overseas, and they bring in people buy what they could afford. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it also is an indication that in agriculture, you're not doing enough to feed your people. Saboto Caesar came in Parliament in the budget, not Saboto, sorry, Camelo said in the budget in 2024, not this year, last year, that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is the breadbasket of the Caribbean, the southern, eastern and southern Caribbean. 6 months later, right after burial, Saboto comes and tells us that we have a problem with food insecurity.
I remember that.
You know what I mean? And so we believe, incidentally, agriculture, which should be one of the main drivers of economic growth. You know how much agriculture contributes to GDP in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? 5.4%. 5.4%. What that simply means, every dollar that St. Vincent and the Grenadines economy generate, agriculture only contributing 5 cents to that.
Small money.
Come on. Let's not bury our heads in the sand. Forget about Fitz and NDP. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is more important than NDP and ULP.
Somebody is asking if you still think that investment is one of the pillars that the NDP still.
It's not a pillar. It's not a pillar. Let me finish the 4 pillars that I'm talking about, and then I'll come back to that. So agriculture is one of the pillars that we believe will help to grow our economy, because our vision for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the New Democratic Party's vision for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, prosperity, is to build those 4 pillars that would really take us up. The second one is tourism, where we would share our beauty with the world and really benefit from the potential for tourism. The blue economy, which basically is our marine resources. Do you know St. Vincent and the Grenadines have a land space of about 340 square kilometers, right? And we have a sea, we have our sea resources, our marine resources is over 34,000 kilometers. That is what? Over almost 100 times what you have in sea than what you have in land. And we don't exploit it, we don't utilize it as we ought to. So the blue economy would harness the potential of our seas. And the new economy now, which embraces technology and innovation, you're promoting your artists, you're promoting technology. Things like you have youngsters in the United States and so on, making money from YouTube, being YouTube vloggers and all that kind of stuff, That's what the new economy does.
Okay.
And what all of this means for everybody is that, one, it means more jobs across traditional and emerging sectors. More jobs means more money in your pocket.
Yes.
More money in your pocket and more people working means more taxes in the government coffers.
Yes.
You understand? Less people being exposed to poverty now because you're working.
Yes.
And not to talk about all the other sociological issues. You know, it also means increased exports where we would boost our national income. So our food import bill and our import bill generally would be decreased. Our trade deficit right now is close to $1 billion. What that means is that we right now, the last statistic I checked, I think it was 2023, we are spending $1.1 billion on import, and we're only earning 193 million from exports. So when you do the difference between exports and imports, it's close to $1 billion we're shipping out of this country because to bring in food and other things that we could produce here. So don't come and tell me about St. Vincent is not in a crisis. I maintain it is in a crisis, and who wants to disagree with me? Well, that is their right so to do. But I am presenting the evidence to show you.
Yes.
The World Bank and the IMF said we are bordering on debt distress. And if what they're saying maintains, it means pretty soon we're not going to be able to pay back our loans. We're borrowing money to pay back loans now. You're taking a loan to pay back a loan. That's what you're doing when you float bonds to pay back the loans.
For the common man, they go say, we're digging a hole to fill a hole.
We're digging a hole to fill a hole. We're digging a hole to fill. And don't fool yourself. Eventually, the chickens are going to come home to roost if we allow this administration to continue. Because what's going to happen, if the people of this country make the mistake and put the ULP back there, Kingsley, what is going to happen is that a lot of the issues from debt distress are going to start to manifest themselves. Government going to have to cut back on spending of essential social services. Education going to suffer. Healthcare, which is already in shambles, going to suffer even more. You talk about bad roads now, you're going to see what happens.
We have a WhatsApp and she's a WhatsApp here.
Yes.
All right. Well, I see all three names here, but for you,
Put
says,
our
was the debt to GDP ratio around 70% at the end of 2019 as one?
That is correct.
What has then changed between 2020 and 2024 to have caused the debt to be elevated to 92%? That's two. And are there any factors which would have created any challenges for this spike in the past 5 years?
Well, I'm quite sure that person who asked the questions, they know the answer. Obviously, the disasters that we encountered, COVID, burial, and the volcano had contributed to the debt to GDP increasing to some extent. Yeah. But the fact is that even pre-COVID, the international experts tell you that a healthy debt to GDP is 60%, right? And the OECD countries have committed to reducing debt to GDP to 60% by 2030. That is in 5 years. There's no way we're going to get close to that in 5 years. So in 2019, we had already exceeded the recommended minimum debt to GDP by more than 10-12%. In 2019, when we were supposedly doing relatively okay compared to the post-COVID period, our debt to GDP was already alarmingly high.
Yeah,
if we had a good cushion going into COVID and Sufri and burial and so on, it would not have been at 93.6% now.
Somebody's asking Fitz to comment on the situation that Dr. Ferry think is escalating the overdraft.
Exactly. That is another issue. And yet they talk about public accounts committee and holding this one. So I wanted to say, we accept that the leader of the opposition has a responsibility to call the Public Accounts Committee. Yeah. But the fact that the Public Accounts Committee has not been meeting, that doesn't contribute to, that is not what is causing all of these problems. I mean, yes, you want to hold them accountable and let the people know what's going on, but these guys are just like guys operating in the wild, wild west, spending going out of style. Parliament passed a bill to increase the overdraft limit to $85 million.
All into a loan.
Huh?
All into a loan.
That's what they did. The last couple of years, they exceeded the overdraft by an average of 35 million.
Wow.
And then converted it into a loan, knowing fully well that it should be repaid within a certain period of time. So when you convert it into a loan now, you're talking about putting on interest on that. So it costing you even more.
It attract more interest and
let me see if I have the bouquet. The director, I come prepared, The director of audit in 2021 published a report. This is the latest report that's been tabled in Parliament.
Yes.
The constitution of this country says that every year the Minister of Finance should table in Parliament the Director of Audit's report, which should be generated every year.
Yeah.
The last one we had was for 2021. So 3 years up since 21, 22, 23, 24, we don't know how they spend with money and what they do with the money. Essentially is what it is.
Yes.
And it is their responsibility, the Minister of Finance, it is his responsibility to table this report. And don't come and tell me that the Director of Audit did not complete the report, so you couldn't table it. If that is the case, tell us why isn't the Director of Audit able to table the report, to prepare and present the report to the Minister of Finance every year? In the 2021 report, we talk about special warrants, right? Special warrants. Let me tell you real quickly. Because in accordance with, and I'm reading from the Director of Audit 2021 report, page 100, under the topic special warrants, where she says, in accordance with section 28 of the Finance Administration Act, chapter 252 of the Laws of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, revised edition 2009, the Minister of Finance may, after the Appropriation Act for the financial year has become into force, approve special warrants authorizing the issue from the consolidated fund such sums which may be required to defray unforeseen expenditure not provided for or not sufficiently provided for in anticipation of approval of the expenditure in a supplementary appropriation act. So in other words, the money that you approve in the general estimates of revenue and expenditure, the Minister of Finance has the authority and the privilege to issue special warrants. Right now, the House of Assembly, in a resolution in February 2020, fixed by resolution in the House of Assembly $35 million as the most amount of money the Minister of Finance could issue in special warrants in any given year. 35 million.
How much money they could allocate for overdraft?
85.
85.
Right? 35 million for special warrants, 85 for overdraft. Listen to this. In 123 special warrants totaling that were approved by the Minister of Finance in 2021. What totaling $98.012 million,
yes,
right? In 2021, $98 million in special warrants, you know.
That's plenty money, you know.
But the maximum he could approve is 35 million.
Christ.
This man approved 98 million, and it says an increase of 37.02 million when compared to the amount approved for 2020. She says, of the special warrants approved in financial year 2021, only one special warrant totaling $15 million was included in Supplementary Appropriation Act number 6 of 2021. The difference of $83.012 million was not submitted for the approval of the House of Assembly. $83 million this man spent in special warrant and didn't bring it to the Parliament for approval. And that is in 2021. So you could imagine what happened in 22, 23, and 24. Now, don't get me wrong.
Well, there were ceremonies that they're using now and spending overdraft, special warrant.
It's to help to recover from burial and all.
Yeah.
Fine. We don't have a problem with that. But do the thing properly. Come on, do the damn thing properly. The regulations and everything tell you what you have to do.
Yeah. And the Minister of Finance is aware of the regulations.
Of course, right? If he's not aware, he shouldn't be Minister of Finance. And the point is, Kingsley, these guys cannot be trusted. They cannot be trusted. So don't come and tell me about, we have to find money for burial. Bring it to the Parliament. You could have Parliament going till 3 o'clock in the morning to pass a damn COVID vaccine bill, mandate bill, but you can't come to Parliament to get money approved for Beryl in terms of special warrants approval.
5 minutes, 30 seconds on to 10. Fitz, you have 4 minutes, 30 seconds to do your closing remarks. We only want 10 seconds over here each.
Listen to me. The pillars, our commitment to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because we have to rebuild our economy. Rebuilding our economy is not going to be a panacea for our problems, but it will certainly contribute more than significantly to taking St. Vincent and the Grenadines into a positive pathway where the standard of living and the quality of life of our people will be improved. We will never be out of problems. No matter where you live on this planet, there will always be socio-economic issues and challenges.
Yes.
But our contention in the New Democratic Party is that our socio-economic issues and challenges that we face right now, much of it could have been avoided had the Unity Labour Party performed better.
So I hope you're not suggesting that the Honourable Minister of Finance, who is quite capable, is not managing properly.
We say he's quite capable.
Yeah,
what do you mean quite capable? Let me. You tell me wrap up, but you make me talk more now. Listen, in 25 years, Kingsley, and I want people to. Maybe this is a good way to end. Maybe this is a good way to end. I talked about a crisis that we are facing right now. Okay, and let me tell you how that crisis really going to hit home. In 25 years, I want you to listen and let this digest, and the listeners. In 25 years. The people of the money, the resources, the finances of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in 25 years have been managed by 2 people, a father and a son. We've only had 2 finance ministers in 25 years. Yes. And I know some people might say, well, oh, what difference does it make? It makes a difference because your record and your performance tells me that you have been more than, what should I say, undesirable. Very inept performance, very poor performance. Look at the state of our country's resources now. Overdraft, special warrants, debt. Our debt this year now is $2.8 billion. You know what that means? They love to talk about per capita income, meaning all the money that your economy makes. If you share it up among every Vincentian, right now it's about 10,000 US, Camelo said, which is about $27,000. So every Vincentian right now earns about $27 million based on what the economy is doing. But what he didn't tell you is our per capita debt, which is if you take our total debt, which the claim is at $2.8 billion now.
How much are you?
Wait, I'm coming to you. $2.8 billion. If you share that up among every Vincentian, you have to pay back $71 a day for a whole year to pay off that debt. 71. So every morning you wake up, you have to find $71 to pay back the debt. And I know they're going to come and say, oh, you can't look at it in that simplistic way. Yes, you can. You can simplify it like that so the people can understand the magnitude of the problem that we face in this country. And we in the New Democratic Party, our 4 pillars will help us to come out of that. But I want to reiterate that when we get there, it's going to take more than magic to clean up this mess.
It's not a walk in the park.
It's not a walk in the park. And it's going. We will have to spend a substantial portion of our first term cleaning up this crisis. Ralph called it a mess. Well, I call it a crisis. If you're not happy with the crisis, let me call it a messy mess. You know? But that is where we are in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yeah, well, Fitz, on behalf of my brand and staff of WFM, and our sponsor, Bathurst, who continue to sponsor this program, we want to thank you for spending your valuable time. You get some people upset, and
that's okay.
For me to get back at them, I stopped it because somebody told me about I allowing you to get away with it. I allow you to get away.
Well, I presented, let me put it like a lawyer. I presented my case.
Yes.
Is up to the defense. I prosecuted the government and I presented my evidence. It's up to the defense to come and defend it.
Well, can the man hear that? It's up to you to come and defend what Fitz supporting. Well, thanks. See you all next week. I gone.
People's Pharmacy for all your pharmaceutical, skin and body care needs. Located on Grenville